Hello, hello, my beautiful lovelies. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to Level 11 True Crime. And yeah, we're going to be talking about Lily and Jack Sullivan. Now, I don't have anything earth shattering. So if you're like, oh, there's got to be an update if she's on. No. I just have a question, something that I can't let go of. I've pulled a couple things up here to review, and I simply want your opinion because I don't know the answer, but it's a question that needs to be asked absolutely. So before we get into that, I have something to talk about regarding Summer Wells and Sebastian Rogers in Tennessee are both still missing. Got up this morning and for 6 days, Tennessee has been missing a zebra and can't find it that wandered away from the farm. If you can't find a zebra in Tennessee and it happened to wander into a field, and of course they spotted it. I'm just saying it really dashed my hopes. So I found that very peculiar. So hopefully we get some news on Jack and Lily Sullivan to be found, who are 4 and 6 years old, missing from Novascotia, Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. They were reported missing on May 2nd, were last seen in public with their family on May 1st. And we have nothing. Or do we? That's the problem. Would the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, would they keep that tight to the vest if they found something? Because I believe they would. I don't think they're going to be out here saying, look what we found. We found this or we found that. So there was some audio dispatch released of items found. Now, there was a little thing found, a couple things found. I'm taking my slippers off. Get comfortable, you guys. I've got my favorite little blanket, right? And squeaky chair. Hello, everybody. It is a live. I have an interactive live audience. Good morning, Debbie, Ocean Deep, Zoe, Courtshire, and Rage, and everyone. So they did find items, I assure you. It's on dispatch. Whether they're related to Lily or Jack, not sure. I'll tell you this much. I find it very peculiar that we're finding out a lot of these texts are legit. So let's start off with that. Let's start off with this. So Belinda Gray is the bio dad of Lily and Jack, mom. So she is the grandmother, the paternal father's side of the family, grandma. This person named Picatu says, yes, I'm asking for is proof these are real, referring to the texts that were just leaked between allegedly the mom and this grandma. The grandma actually answers, and I'll show you in a minute. It's her account. Pictu, please, no drama. These messages are from my phone. I'm doing everything and anything I can to help keep Lily and Jack's pictures out there. And then, as I said, now thank you to Evil Exists for sharing all this. And please give his channel a shout out. This is Belinda Gray. And you can see it's her actual Facebook. And here's the post. So when you click this, it pops up. So indeed, the messages were real. And what messages we're referring to are the ones that I covered in my last video. Also, a shout out to It's a Criming Shame channel for sharing the original posts. Now, in this post, I paused on a big, what does this mean? And I got your opinions, right, in the comments, and thank you. She says, and this is the mom talking, And I'm still going to say alleged because I have no proof that it's the mom other than it's her icon and that's the real grandma. But here we go. I have reason to believe they may have been taken by someone. Then she goes on to say they should have found them by now if they were in the woods. And what I got out of that, you guys, feedback from you was that she's saying the reason I believe them to maybe have been taken by someone is because they should have found them by now if they're in the woods. Okay, I can absolutely see that. But there's some inkling that she didn't start with that. She led with this, I have reason to believe. And that's a anchor, right? It kind of nails something in the ground. So when you say, I have reason to believe that it's going to rain today, it leads us to believe that you have knowledge. You are of wisdom. You know an answer or something. So I began to wonder if the children were taken or if it's being suggested that they were taken, like the mother and the stepdad are saying, which is this idea that children may have wandered to the road, right, and been picked up by someone. The dogs are backing the parents on that statement. If you look at the fact that the dogs are being reported as to have tracked the scent of the children to the edge of the property and then no more. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the discrepancy between, and it's huge, it's massive. There's this huge discrepancy where mom says yes, and the stepdad says no. And we don't know the answer. We're being told that it would more or less be publicly that the RCMP would have agreed with the stepdad over the mother, if we're to believe what they're telling us. However, this is so a Rubik's Cube twisted. If they're playing into the stepdad for some bizarre reason, don't ask me, but really they're keeping everything tight to the vest so that they can find these children. They could agree with the mom more. So I don't know. What am I talking about? All right, so let's get into this a little bit. Let me find this. I think I have to.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Let me earphone up. Hey, Richie. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Laura. Oh, Laura feels they might be guilty. Thank you for sharing your opinion. All right, my lovely. So this is from dispatch of the children, their search. And I've done my research according to what was shared with the public. Keep in mind, it could be all tight to the vest, right? And I hope it is. All right. However, there's a huge chunk of silence in between when this item is found and what the mom says, what Malaya says. Is it the children's or not? And then there's this huge chunk of silence. And then you'll hear a little bit more about it, then a chunk of silence, a little bit more. So the thing is then they show this item that they found to the stepdad, Daniel, and it's being reported. He said, no, it's not. It's a piece of the blanket, right? That went all over the internet. Well, I found the little place where Shenandra Speaks, go give her channel love, had recorded that dispatch and I grabbed it. Took me forever to find this yesterday. Thank you for putting it out there, Shenandra, because I don't know how I would have got it. Um, that being said, they definitely find something that the mother says belongs to her daughter. That's huge. And then the stepdad saying, nope, that's not the kids'. Who is telling the truth? This is the only piece of possible evidence that we're aware of in the case that anybody has suggested is connected to either Jack or Lilly Sullivan. So I'm hung up on the fact that mom is saying, yeah, that's my daughter's. I think that's my daughter's. But then the stepdad is like, no, no, none of those items. Because Malaya, something happened. Something happened on the 3rd of May. I don't know if the mom was triggered. I don't know if she had this planned. I don't know what it was, but there was a tipping point, if you will, where Malaya's at that meeting with the searchers. And I don't know, did they show her an item? So this little item that was found, the blanket that I'm talking about, is being reported on May 6th. We don't know when that was found because as they're doing this dispatch, there's no timestamp or date on it. And they have access to Malaya right there, right away to confirm or to deny if the items are her children's. Do they do it? They can't possibly do it over the phone, can they? Would they screenshot something? Maybe. But what's even more weird is this being reported that the actual family found it. Whose family? Malaya's family or Daniel's family? Because I haven't heard of anybody in the mom's side actively searching. I could be wrong, unless you consider the bio dad's family, which allegedly did search. So I'm so confused. And that's why I'm like, we've got to talk about it. No big bombshell, but this is a very concerning. If okay, hear me on this before we get into it. The dispatch. Let's say that someone you loved has been reported missing. You know them like the back of your hand. All right. You were with someone and that person. Now that person is missing. It's just you and the other person, right? So we'll call them your husband. So you and your husband, even if you're not married, go with this. You and your husband are with a third person. The third person goes missing while you're all together. They bring you a scrap of material that you say, yes, that is a piece of his shirt. That's a piece of his shirt. And your husband says, no, it's not. Do you side-eye your husband? Do you wonder what the hell? Do you pull up stakes and pull away from him because you feel like something happened when you weren't paying attention? Especially if you had taken a nap during that time. Could it have been the tipping point? Like I said, it's reported on May 6th that this partial part of a blanket was found. Mama saying, yep, that is my daughter's. I think that's my daughter's. But the stepdad saying, no. Something's wrong because one of them is right and one is wrong. You feel me? And that could be Viv. Let's get Viv on the board this morning. Viv points out something, and I did a lot of like meditating on this case last night, like deep thinking, trying to get into my spiritual place to where I could go to sleep without freaking out that, God, we've got kids disappearing all over the planet. We've got ice riots. And okay, Viv says, let me set up a little teller. Now that we use this new system, when I share, woo, when I share comments, it puts a comment so dang high. And I don't know why that is. Viv says, I think that's why she feels looks guilty, because she stayed and kept her kids in that situation. That could be part of all this. We don't have the ability to determine what kind of guilt someone feels, whether they feel guilty because they weren't supervising the situation to the best of their ability, or why they feel guilt. We can recognize, that look, that feel, but we don't have the ability to determine if it's like guilty knowledge or guilt of action. So it makes it difficult. All right, let's go ahead and listen to this dispatch. Like I said, there's some long, drawn out pauses. I'm not going to be chopping up and piecing it all together, because I want you to listen to how long. And I know you'll say to me, well, you got to remember their radios weren't working that good. They were cutting out and all that. But when that was happening on all this dispatch, I've listened to all of it almost. They always say, come back, you're not coming through. However, this one, you can tell that they've muted it, because he comes back in half a statement and they're already in a different part of the conversation. So when the blanket's found and then this part comes out on the air about the mother saying yes, they're going to go into a little bit of talk, and then they're going to go radio silence, even though they're talking. And then they'll come back. But it's a lengthy pause. So here we go.
Families brought us to a location there, not far away, that there's a piece of a blanket, which the mother says she believes it belongs to her daughter. It's just off.
The family has brought us to a piece of a blanket that the mother says she thinks it's her daughter's.
The road here.
Okay, now remember, I'm going to play that whole thing again and let him finish, because it's going to go on to say that it's found on the side of the road with other little remnants, like old-looking rags. Remember, Malaya has stated earlier she has a reason to believe that someone may have taken these kids, her children. Now, I don't know when this really took place. I only know that the media found out about it on the 6th of May. So I'm wondering, is it possible? I'm just asking questions. That something was shown to Malaya, not even the blanket, but maybe something else. And she was like, yep, that's Jack's, or yep, that's Lily's. And then the stepdad was like, nope, that's not theirs. And she was like, I'm out of here, because I darn sure know that. I don't know, but it makes you wonder. Oh, you guys, thank you. Thank you so much. Let me show you why I'm like, oh, thank you. Cordster, just because you're MD. Thank you. That's so kind of you. Rach, love you, MD. Keep up the good work. You give so much of yourself to these cases, and we appreciate it. I appreciate you both. Thank you. So I've been thinking about this. That could definitely cause a tipping point, and I only have my own life to compare it to. But if I was with my partner and a third person, and that third person went missing and they were wearing a checkered plaid shirt, right? And in the search, all of a sudden they bring me a piece of this checkered looking material. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's his shirt. Yep, sure. And then my partner's like, it's not. No, no, it's not. I might pull up and not even say bye. Just be like, well, that's all I needed to know. No more words need to be said. I damn sure know it. I'm out of here. So that's what kind of went through my mind as to how I would react in that situation. And we have no idea what else has been shown to the mother, Malia, because they're going to keep a lot of that tight to their vest. They found stickers. They found shiny stickers. They found purple things, right? Hey, Ocean Deep, love you so much. Oh, bless your heart. Thank you, sweetheart. Greatly, very much appreciate that. Okay, great point, Kent. Excellent point. I want to hear from you guys. But it wasn't there because of an abduction. It was either lost when the kids were taken or hid or was part of the cover, in your opinion. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Oh my gosh. I had the very exact same experience as you. Casey Fredrickson says 22 years ago, I lost my 7-year-old son at our annual fireworks. 4th of July, thousands of people were there. We found him, but still today I can remember the panic and fear that went through me. I personally, I'm trying to remember how old Brittany was. She was 3, my daughter Brittany, and my son was 7. And my husband, their dad, we were at an art festival and there was 20,000 people packed into 4 city blocks. And we were doing this art thing. It was so packed. The streets are closed off because it's just like you can hardly move. And I knew that we were absolutely packed to the max. Well, the police were on horses and they were walking slowly and around this big 4-block thing. Now, keep in mind, it was a park, so there were no buildings. It was just a huge park. It was 4 blocks and so forth. And there's 20,000 people. And my husband takes both my son and my daughter, and they go to grab lunch while I'm at the art festival selling my artwork. And I'm selling things, and it's going good. And he shows up with only 1 kid. I see him walk up, and he's only got, and we're out of my town. We're in Madison, the capital of our state. We're nowhere near home, so he couldn't left her with anybody. And I'm not seeing my daughter. As he breaks through, he's 10 feet in front of me before he can break through into my tent, and I can see, and he ain't got my daughter. And right away, he's like, I've lost her. I'm like, what? He's like, she pulled out. The crowd kind of took her. I didn't even, nothing. I just flipped the hell out. I grabbed a person and threw them off this table. Like I was like, move. And the person was like, hey. And I'm like, I jump up on this table and I have a whistle. And I blew it and blew it and blew it. And I screamed at the top of my lungs. And I'm telling you, the police, the entire crowd stopped. And I screamed as loud as I could. 3-year-old missing in the crowd 2 minutes ago. Right? There was a little murmur. My heart was frozen. I'm like, nobody move. And I got a loud mouth when I was terrified. And I kid you not, blessed soul lifted my child up. Nobody took her. She swam away from everybody. She was swimming in the crowd. By now, she was fully panicked. But anyway, they picked her up and they held her up above the crowd. And I could see people had to move around so the horse could turn. And the officer went and got her and brought her to me. And me and my husband packed up our art booth and went home. And I quit crafting. I didn't go back to another art show. I was done. I'm just telling you, when your kids go missing for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, your entire life has changed forever, just like Katie was saying. I believe that was her name. So it's a very serious. And if they had not found her at that moment, but they had shown me one of her shoes or a shirt that matched what she was wearing, and I said, yep, that's my daughter's. And my husband said, no. Even though hindsight, we know the truth. My daughter was fine. He didn't do anything wrong other than she literally got away from him on purpose because she wanted to get to the ice cream stand. And he was trying to hang on to her. All right. But in that moment, if they would have brought me a shoe or a piece of her shirt, and I knew in my heart, and I was like, yep, that's hers, and he would have said no, we wouldn't have been driving home in the same car because I wouldn't have went home and I would have stayed away from him. So what triggered mom to just up and pull up stakes and not a word, poof, ghost the entire situation? I don't know. Could it have something to do with this little blanket? Let's listen to this one more time here.
Go ahead. Families brought us to a location there, not far away, that there's a piece of a blanket, which the mother says she believes it belongs to her daughter. It's just off the road here. I don't know if you do use that.
She believes,
Bravo
not
3
I
and
think.
Bravo 8 are.
So I misquoted her. The man is saying on dispatch, she believes it to be her daughter. She believes it.
Yeah, we just off the Lansdowne Road, off the 289.
Families brought us to a location there, not far away, that there's a piece of a blanket, which the mother says she believes it belongs to her daughter. It's just off the road here. I don't know if you do use that, you'll see where Bravo 3 and Bravo 8 are.
Yeah, we just off the Lansdowne Road, off the 289.
Did we say we found an article?
Possibly. There's a couple other pieces of old clothing here. Pieces just torn, like pieces of rag, but there is a
And it's cut out. And it'll be off for half a minute. Yes, it's absolutely you're right, Julie. Losing
side of the
power
road.
by the road. And it's quiet because they're censoring it. You can tell by the way they come back in and they're in a different part of the conversation. Good question, E. What time was the black BR seen, and was it in the same direction as Lansdowne? Hey, Amy Duggle. End of this case to what's up?
RCMP helicopter there. Do you see the F-250? There's a truck and the SUV. Yeah, pretty much directly in front of you, sir. That's this blanket.
Something about a blanket, and then they cut it out.
Yeah, 10-4, we're coming up to it there. Just debate whether we leave it for PS.
Okay. That's about all of it. There's a little bit more, but all they do is come back in and the word blanket is said, I believe. So let's go ahead and let's see. We now know that the mother is saying she believes that is her daughter's blanket, that is Lily's blanket. Let's see what dad says right here, down here. Let me get that overlay off so that you don't have to look through it. Where's the one? I need that one. Okay, right here. Now, this is from CBC, and this was back on May 6th. Okay, so that's when it's being reported, but we don't know when that blanket was found. Obviously, it's early enough that they had direct communication right away with Malaya. I put the copy up here on the top of what it says, really small down here. Says the children's stepfather, Daniel Martell, said Mountie showed him shirts, a blanket, and a water bottle found during the search near Garlock Road, but he said none of the items belonged to either children. So that's a huge problem. You feel me? How do you feel? What are your thoughts on that? That is so disturbing to me. Make sure and let me know, what do you think on this? Because the mother believed it was Lily's blanket. Would you know your kid's blanket? I think so. Why would Daniel say it wasn't if it wasn't Lily's blanket? And why would Malaya say it was Lily's blanket if it wasn't? And why is the blanket ruled out per se, to the best of our knowledge, if the mother believes it was? I don't know. Now, we've all thought about this. Is it possible these children were abducted? The truth is, yeah, it's possible. It's very possible.
3 weeks.
Here's the deal. Other abductions have almost occurred in areas surrounding there, right? Recently, like a man grabbed a kid and took him in the garage while the other kid biked off, and this kid that was in the garage and then screamed and got away, and they came and arrested the dude. That's not that far away from this scenario. So yeah, there are bad people out there. Oh, there are. And the dogs tracked those kids, sent right to the edge of the property or at the end of the driveway, and that's it. No more. Jack, according to mom, now we know these texts are real, according to the grandmother, right? Because she's the one that's sharing them. She's saying, yes, these are real. This is Malaya, the mom in here, allegedly saying that Jack has trouble going through the woods. So why did they rule out an abduction so quickly? And could it be the downfall to this case?
8 full days of scouring Lansdowne Station, there's still no sign of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. Glenn Brown is having a hard time wrapping his head around that. The retired RCMP dog handler of 26 years says it's baffling to him the children are still missing after such wide-scale searches that included upwards of 160 search and rescue personnel, dogs, helicopters, and drones.
I find it hard to believe that a 6 and 4-year-old would just disappear like that. I guarantee you, if I was still working today, that'd be the thing you'd be racing around your mind all the time. Like, where would they have gone? Like, we have done everything. I think the last thing I read, they searched a square kilometer area, 5 kilometers. That's a big area. And that's meticulously searched.
The children were reported missing from a home on Gairloch Road on May 2nd, sparking a 6-day search that was eventually scaled back. Then, over the weekend, 115 search and rescue crew members were called back. RCMP have not said what prompted them to return, but Brown says it's not unusual to restart a search. He says there are a number of reasons police may call crews back, including tips or new evidence. But if that was the case, that information likely was not known by the search crews or even police officers on the ground.
They may tell them, we got a tip, and we just want you to go in that area and search and see if you find anything. They're not going to tell you exactly what was in the tip.
That's exactly right. And so, to my point, did they find something before the blanket even, maybe, and show it to Malaya at that search and tent area? And she say yes, and Daniel say no. And she was like, oh, hell no. We don't know, because they would keep it tight to their vest. I really, really know this. They're not going to tell you exactly what it was in the tip. This is even if you're a searcher, let alone public, right? They're just not going to do it, says Glenn Brown, retired RCMP dog handler.
Yeah, it's not going to do it. They don't even tell their own people that, unless you are in the know, right? Unless it's like you're in that investigative group.
RCMP's major crime unit.
Unless you're in that investigative crime group, you're not going to know. Meaning that even some of the investigators that are on the peripheral edge, just collecting the information, and they don't know. It's the ones in the inner circle in that investigative team that are going to be in the know. So if they're not even going to tell their own searchers what they're searching for or anything, just that go to this area and search, are they going to tell them or anybody else what they find? Like if it's connected? No. The only people that are going to be asked if these items belong to the children are most likely the parents. And what do you do if the mother says, I believe that's my daughter Lily's blanket, but the stepdad says, no, none of these items belong to either children? What do you do if you're the RCMP? I find it so strange that Daniel can't even have, according to everything that we've been told by him, he can't even see the baby right now. Not even in supervised visits? That is wild. Why? See, to me, wherever the baby is, the baby's going to be in the safest place because we have missing children, right? And we don't know what happened, but it's being treated suspicious until proven otherwise. So wherever the baby is, to me, is where the police are feeling is the safest. And we don't know where the baby is. I've heard tell that the baby is with the Malaya, the mother. Yet Daniel comes out and he makes this comment about not attacking Malaya, right? Anymore, as if he approved it before. But whatever. Words are my thing. Maybe not yours. I pick them apart. Your words, what you say, matter. But I find it so strange that he's talking about how Malaya's mental condition, okay, could reflect or will reflect on the baby. That is concerning as hell. Because what mother is going to be in their right mind with two of their kids missing still after what, 30, good Lord, 34 days or something like that? But I don't necessarily believe it because Daniel has a way of doing a backhanded way of saying something, in my opinion. He has a way of putting in a text that makes him look really good at all times, right? His statements always make him look good. So he's broadcasting to the public about Malaya's mental condition and that it could affect the child. So he almost implies that the child may not be safe if Malaya gets upset. And that's probably not even true. Otherwise, why would she have the baby? It's just mind games. I feel like mind games are being played. And so, if it's true that the mother has the baby, and if it's true that what Daniel is saying, that he can't see Meadow, the baby, right there's a big, huge red flag. And so back to, who would you believe if you were the RCMP? Would you believe the mother or would you believe the stepdad? I would think to myself, who did social services or custody or whatever you had for a group up there give the baby to? Who has a better track record of taking care of kids is the one that's going to get the baby. I don't know. But that's just, like I said, this is just my humble opinion and it doesn't make it fact. I don't claim fact. Like I said, I'm just asking a lot of questions and trying to get your opinion because none of this makes sense. It really doesn't. All right. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. That's all I have for you today. I have a call to action today. Same call to action that I had yesterday, unfortunately. is I would like Lily and Jack Sullivan found. I am asking you to ask a prayer for them to be located, as well as Travis Decker to be found and located for obviously different reasons, as his 3 daughters are no more and they are looking for him. He is on the lam, as they say, out of Washington, but he could be in different counties. He was Googling Canada and moving there and relocating. So, good Lord, could that be a red herring, just throwing people in the wrong direction on purpose? Who knows? Doesn't make me think it could have been premeditated, possibly. And then into the Jay Slater case, we still have the inquest coming up. Second half, if you want to call it that. It's not done and over. The witnesses that been talking smack this whole time ain't showing up, right? So we have a reprieve, a chance to get it right and get questions out there. So I know a lot of you are working super hard on that case, and I'm asking for you to pray for the truth to come out for Jay Slater, whatever that is. We the truth. I love you guys to the moon and back, and I thank you all for a rage. Thank you, lovely. Thank you for spending your time with us today. Please hit the like on the way out if you haven't already. We really appreciate it. Love you all. Thank you so much, love. And with that, I love you to the moon back, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the snooper chats.